Thanks, Joe. Thank you to Exploration Insights for the opportunity to present and Metal Investor Forum. We're very privileged to be the only Australian listed company at the conference this weekend, and it's a great opportunity, and we look forward to the week of conferences here in Vancouver. Yeah, so Blackstone Minerals, the reason we've started coming to Canada nearly 3 years ago now is that we have a cobalt asset out near Braylon. Braylon is the most prolific gold belt in British Columbia's history, and there's a significant amount of base metals potential out there. But through that asset, we've been able to build some very strong relationships with the battery end users, and we were originally looking for cobalt in British Columbia, and we're now looking for nickel in Vietnam. So it's the Ta Qua Nickel District. It's a previously operating mine called the Ban Phuc Nickel Mine. It was operated by a company called Asian Mineral Resources on the TSX, and they operated between 2013 and 2016. They sunk over $130 million into this mine, and they've left some very good infrastructure, and we believe a significant amount of nickel behind as well. So we've also got the Little Gem Copper Gold Cobalt project. So we first came to Canada looking for cobalt, and that is our second priority project. We've got 48 kilometres of strike potential around the Braylon mine, and we're looking for copper, gold and cobalt, and we're also here this week to look for partners to progress that asset. We've also started originally in Western Australia in Perth. So this is a Perth company listed on the Australian Stock Exchange. Our West Australian asset is the Silver Swan South, which is a long strike of the Kanowna Belle gold mine, which is one of Northern Star's flagship assets. So Northern Star, one of the bigger gold mining companies down in Australia. And we've also got some nickel sulfide potential near Kalgoorlie as well. This is a bit of a snapshot of the capital structure. Most Australian companies have a lot more shares on issue. We've only got 191 million, and we'd plan to keep it as low as possible. Market cap of about 30 million in Australian dollar terms. We're well funded for this next sort of 6 months to produce a maiden resource and a scoping study in Vietnam. So there's a board and management team that have worked together for 20 years, very technical team. Hamish Halliday and Steve Parsons are our business partners, and there's a history of creating shareholder wealth through major discoveries, particularly through Africa, and currently in Australia with the Bellevue Gold Limited, which has been a very successful discovery, multi-million ounce discovery in Western Australia as we speak. So one of the most exciting gold discoveries in Australia at the moment through Steve Parsons. So there's this history of making big discoveries and creating shareholder wealth through good geology. So this is why we're looking for nickel. So it was about 12 months ago we took some battery end users to the cobalt project near Braylon, and they said to us, by the way, can you have a look around for some nickel sulfide, because we're increasing nickel and we're reducing cobalt. So the original lithium-ion battery had a ratio of nickel manganese to cobalt of 1:1, and they're moving to an 8:1:1 ratio. So nickel 8, 1 for manganese and 1 for cobalt. So they are reducing cobalt and increasing nickel. We believe that we are one of the first movers, and we will be able to deliver a nickel sulfate into what is a very growth industry in the lithium-ion battery industry in Asia. So this is a bit of a snapshot. So we're looking at what could be a fully integrated model all the way through to the electric vehicle. LG Chem have announced a $2 billion partnership with a local conglomerate called VinFast, and they're looking to build electric vehicles and electric scooters, and a $2 billion battery factory in the Haiphong, which is the port city nearby. So you can see the existing mine. The previous operators mined this underground massive sulfide, and next to the mine we have a very large disseminated ore body. We think that we have some bulk mining opportunities. There's an existing concentrator, so we can create a concentrate, and we're looking to build a downstream processing facility to create nickel sulfate. We've also got hydro grid power. We've got some of the lowest power costs in the world. We've got very competitive labour costs, and it's one of the world's biggest growth stories in Asia at the moment. So this is the tenure. So we have the centrally located concentrator and the Banfuk disseminated. We're looking at a close radius of opportunities. We're looking at 25 massive sulphide vein targets, as well as a number of disseminated ore body within close proximity to the concentrator. So this is the first target. It's called the Banfuk disseminated sulphide ore body. So it's 1 kilometre long by 500 metres wide. This is the massive sulphide vein that was mined out by the previous owners, down to about 400 metres. The previous owners did not do any exploration outside of that first ore body. We believe that there's potential for a 10 to 20 year mining the disseminated ore body. The previous owners didn't assay for platinum and palladium, and we're getting very strong platinum, palladium and gold, up to 1 gram per tonne. Just recently, we were drilling out this ore body and we've found a new discovery. It's called the King Cobra zone. And it's a very shallow, high-grade zone. We've hit 60 metres at 1.3% nickel. And to put that into gold terms, that's about 3.5 grams per tonne and from 30 metres. So very shallow, open-pittable, very high-grade nickel, which will be a really economic starter pit, we think. So this is what it looks like on a cross-section view. So that's the massive sulphide vein that was mined out. You can see a lot of the historic drilling was drilling for that massive sulphide, and this is the disseminated ore body that's been left behind for us. We're systematically drilling this out, and as we were drilling that, we hit this King Cobra zone, which we believe could be a separate phase to the existing mineralisation at depth. So that the exciting part about that is that could lead us to a potential feeder zone and the source of all of this mineralisation. So we have assays pending on the King Cobra zone, and we look forward to announcing further high-grade, shallow, open-pittable material from that discovery zone. So the key part of our story is we've got a very strong relationship with the battery end users, particularly in South Korea. We've announced an MOU with EcoPro, which is Korea's largest cathode manufacturer, and we have a very strong relationship with other battery end users. What we will now do is, with the existing concentrator, we can then now put in a downstream processing facility to produce a nickel sulphate for the battery industry. We're looking at other technologies, but the primary technology we're looking at is a pressure oxidation autoclave, which is tried and tested technology used all through the gold industry. We're also working with Curtin University on a breakthrough technology called a glycine leach process, which could reduce the capital and operating costs to get to a nickel sulphate. One of the benefits of operating in Vietnam is this is one of the lowest cost operating environments anywhere in the world. So for instance, when we were drilling out the back of Braylon with a helicopter, about $500 a metre, we're currently drilling at $80 a metre in Vietnam. These are actual costs for when the mine was last operating, and there was also a tariff on concentrate. So what we're looking at is if we can build a downstream processing facility, we will remove this tariff. And even with that tariff, the previous owners had 25% lower operating costs than an equivalent mine in Canada or Australia. So our plan is to build that downstream processing facility, and the government is incentivising that and will reduce or remove that tariff. This is a bit of a snapshot of some of our nickel peers down in Australia. So what we do have, and I don't think anyone else in the market has a strategic partner, so we have these very strong relationships with these strategic partners. We have a concentrator in place. We believe that when we deliver the study and a maiden resource over the next 6 months, we will be valued more in line with our developer peers down in Australia. So there's a bit of a frenzy down in Australia. The Panoramic has been bid by IGO, which is one of our largest nickel miners. So there's a bit of a frenzy to get hold of nickel sulphide, and we think that our market cap will only benefit from this in the coming months. So we've got a strong news flow. We're going to continue with the King Cobra discovery, drill out phase. We're using modern geophysics. So instead of bringing in expensive contractors from Australia or Canada, we've gone and bought our own IP-EM kit. So we're just going to modern geophysics the whole belt, systematically drill out the targets and just move through those 25 targets. We've got some preliminary met test work on that downstream process to deliver nickel sulfate and scoping study over the next 6 months. So consistent news flow, both development and exploration news flow, and continuous news flow over the next 6 months. So just in summary, we've got an international portfolio of battery and precious metals. This is one of the premier nickel sulfide districts in Southeast Asia, and I believe some of the best nickel sulfide geology anywhere in the world. We're looking to deliver a maiden resource and a scoping study in the next 6 months. We think that will re-rate the stock more in line with our peers, and we're well funded to deliver that. And most importantly, we've got a management team that has done this all through the world before, over many years, and we've taken companies from $5 million to multi-$100 million companies. And when we first picked up this asset in Vietnam, we started with a $5 million market cap. We're sitting at 30 and we're only 6 to 9 months in. We believe this could be a company-making asset, and we're looking forward to really delivering into what will be this EV revolution. Thank you for your time.